obviously, spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen the movie and you want to, go see it before you watch this. If you're on the fence about seeing it, go watch it. It's not bad. After seeing Equestria Girls 3 times, once at the theater, second through the awkward reviewer, third by NetLeak, the missed opportunities of the movie stand out more than the occasional predictability or genre cliches. Areas where the movie sets itself up for greater heights and then passes by, oblivious of its true potential. As a story in an alternate universe, most character development would not matter to the main series, but that does not mean it should be minimalized. As an addition to a larger series, it should try and open opportunities for that series or explore things it normally would not. A movie format allows so much room to add and interweave compared to the standalone episodic format. Equestria Girls could have ranked with some of our greatest favorites. Could have. Now, if you want to get what I mean, you probably want some examples. There may be a fair amount of general themes I could go into, but these are specific areas that missed out the most. Okay then, firstly is rarity. During the first day in the human world, Fluttershy warns Twilight about Sunset Shimmer, how she will make life awful for anyone who stands in her way. She mentions the one who tried to be princess at the previous spring fling as an example. Sunset Shimmer even says she wants something on Twilight just like the last girl who thought she could challenge her. These events both happen before we meet Rarity. When her appearance finally arrives, it's to hide Twilight after the humiliation video. Now what would have made this work so much better than how it plays out is if Rarity had been that candidate for the spring fling in the past, and Sunset Shimmer had embarrassed Rarity in a similar fashion. This would have given Twilight an ally who could back up her efforts with personal purpose and kept Twilight's reputation from falling any further, using the knowledge from her humiliating and shaming experiences. Rarity backing her up already might have helped convince the others to join Twilight's cause. It wouldn't have to be a side benefit of getting back at Sunset's driving the five apart, but instead because their old friend was requesting help to aid a newbie with spirit and goals. I guess this segues into the second one, the loss of friendship between the 5 human versions. Now, I really like the setup here. Even in my first viewing, I kept thinking up ways they could play with why they had split up and how they would work at reuniting. Unfortunately, the truth of it all was Sunset Shimmer had tricked them apart, and all it took to patch things up was comparing notes and apologies. These are the, pony people, we know, but without the influences of Twilight and being so close. It's also fine to believe they are slightly different from our usual 5 and have quirks that could have aided their development within the movie. Pinkie might not have the restraint yet that she needs to know when and when not to throw a party. She would have unintentionally ruined certain events by not understanding the atmosphere, like Fluttershy's silent auction, maybe even believing she was still in the right afterward and that trying to bring a smile is never wrong. Rarity could have been too prideful and annoyed her friends away. Fluttershy could have thought her friends didn't care about her animals after not helping out enough or skipping some of her fundraisers. AJ could have gotten too work-focused and neglected her friends. Dash could have become too pompous and sports-focused, especially with non-athletic friends. These wouldn't require a full arc to solve, just realizations of being in the wrong and asking for forgiveness. I feel even the 5 drifting apart for no particular reason might have been better, because, sadly, it often happens with old friends. As for Sunset Shimmer's breakup of the gang, I'll buy it as she checked up on Equestria, found out about the new element bearers, formulated her own plan for the crown, and split up the main 5 as a precaution. Not a very long-term precaution, though. Or she was committing random cruel pranks, which might give a look into her character, but belittles her as an overall villain. And now, the thorn in many, many sides, Flash Sentry. Let me say first, I have no problem with him existing. The big issue people have with him is his purpose as a general love interest. It may seem an obvious missed chance, but I would say there are already hints of more to him that should have been explored. He was Sunset Shimmer's boyfriend. Why? And then why did they break up? We see him overhear Sunset telling VP Luna about the trashed auditorium, and he knows something is up, taking the initiative to investigate, and finds what he needs to defend Twilight. He knows Sunset's true side, so what made him go along with her before? Unanswered questions I wouldn't have expected addressed in the movie anyway, but I did expect more in other scenes. Flash Sentry's main issue is that he doesn't say much. Multiple times he shows up in musical segments or just stands around smiling. Even generic lines would have been to his benefit. Look at Shining Armor. He can get the bland line from time to time, but the inflection in his voice gives us a better sense of who he is. Whether it's more time, more lines, or more story involvement, anything more put into Flash Sentry would have made better use of him. Close to anything. For future entertainment, I'd hate to see him never addressed again, though I know that will likely be the case. MLP can give us surprisingly deeper characters. This one just needs a bit more time and focus to convert some of the haters. Demote him to background guard at worst. Last of these is Twilight's crown, the element of magic. Moreover, how it relates to and activates in the human world. So the crown is a prize for a dance, and both parties will try to win it instead of just snatching it away. Fine. I suspect human Celestia is just like the version we know, and knew everything the entire time, so we'll move past that. Sunset Shimmer indicates she knows what happens when an element is in that realm, and she doesn't give any details afterward. Ever. And how she knows likely is either lore she found, or Celestia told her herself in her student days. But passing on a hint of that knowledge or how she would use that to the viewer would have been greatly appreciated. One of the few things that is hinted at is Sunset Shimmer's true plan, taking Equestria using enslaved minions from the human world.
When the crown and its power are mine, Twilight Sparkle will be sorry she ever set hoof into this world. Not that she would have been much safer if she'd stayed in Equestria.
Which seemed more believable and fit with the character we saw. Anyway, Sunset gets the crown, transforms into a succubus, sea demon, and has some type of magic that works in this world. And then the main six huddle, are protected, the crown rebels, powers up the six, and Rainbow twirl nuke Sunset with the typical fix. There is precedent for the elements within the six, somewhat in the pilot, and more blatantly in the Nightmarity comic arc. But it is still a big open question of why the crown worked for Sunset. Most explanations I can come up with involve Celestia originally getting the elements from the human world, or there was more to Sunset's student days than we were told. In the final act, Twilight says she has the crown, but cannot truly wield it without friendship. Meaning anyone can use the crown in some way if they wear it? So, yeah, there's not much explanation given. The crown's power in this world could have been a mystery we got small hints at throughout, a build to a twist, or just the unusual boss we got. The focus of the movie is Twilight's getting accepted and attempting to get votes for the dance. The secondary focus is the main six. The third focus should have been the mystery of why steal the crown if magic does not work, and the threat to different worlds by bringing an element into them. More preface to that ending would have been fine, but keeping the element of magic a mystical MacGuffin with unknown different abilities and not a contest prize could have greatly improved the plot. That all said, I enjoyed the movie quite a bit. I find it hard to compare to episodes in general, but easier with two-parters. Equestria Girls ranks below Discord's debut and The Wedding, but above the pilot and Crystal Empire in my mind. And there were numerous things done well, including Twilight's adjustment to being human, the callbacks, a look into Twilight's head post-alicorning, jokes for us, and the humans in general. Seeing Pony Twilight in a mirror is the moment I realized I had gotten so used to human forms. And easily, my favorite part was Twilight's dancing. Oh, look, a sign he can have more to his character. And the general consensus of the friends I went to see Equestria Girls with was we wouldn't mind seeing more human stuff. So, now that discussions and analyses will hopefully become more common, and the fervor has subsided for the most part, we can rebuild our defenses and prepare for the next big brony overreaction. Oh joy! New main characters and a time skip.